All right, so I am assuming that you either fully understand part C and D, or you have taken the time to rewatch those again. So now let's jump into our difference quotient. Our difference quotient is f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. This is really, really important for you to understand. This is how Calc 1 starts. This is Module 1, Lesson 1 of Calc 1. So you will see this again, and you will use it for almost all of Module 1. So example 6 is to find the difference quotient for f of x. Okay, so let's use our formula here. First thing that we need to evaluate is this f of x plus h. So this one only has one x, so I'm going to replace this one x with x plus h. So I have 7 times x plus h plus 3. That is that blue part right here when I am taking this and replacing that x with x plus h. Now, let me find a different color if I have one. Now, oops, that doesn't work. We will go with, now I need to evaluate negative f of x. So negative f of x is subtracting this entire function. And then this is all over h. Okay, so now let's evaluate. When I distribute in the 7, we get 7x plus 7h. Bring down your 3. Now I'm going to distribute this negative inside my parentheses. Negative 7x minus 3. And this is still all over h. Now, after you use this formula and simplify as much as we can of that top, a lot of things here should start canceling. If you notice, we have a positive and a negative 7x. Those will cancel. I have a positive and a negative 3. Those will also cancel. So now I am left with only 7h all over h. My h's here will also cancel. So my difference quotient is just 7. Okay, let's try this formula again. And I should have done this before I started the video, but here we are. Okay, so let's try part B now. We have a little bit more complicated of a function since we have 2 x's here, but we are not scared. Okay. So starting with the blue, I need to evaluate f of x plus h. So everywhere here that I see an x, which are these two, I'm going to replace these 2 x's with x plus h. So we have x plus h squared plus 3 times x plus h, and then bring down your plus 1. Now I need to subtract my function. So I will do minus in parentheses and then rewrite my entire function. And this is all over h. So let's evaluate. In the last video, we went over x plus h quantity squared in this little box right here. X plus h quantity squared does not equal x squared plus h squared. It equals x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. So rewatch this video if you need further help with that. or rewatch last video if you need further help with that. So this part here, x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. I'm going to distribute this 3. Bring down the plus 1. And now I'm going to distribute this negative to all 3 terms. And we are still all over h. Okay, once we have fully evaluated the top, things should start canceling out. If things don't cancel out, we have done something wrong somewhere. So we have a positive and a negative x squared. What else do we have? A positive 3x and a negative 3x. And a positive and a negative 1. Okay, so what do we have left? We have 2xh plus h squared plus 3h all over h. And if you notice here, all of these terms have at least one h in them. So this h will disappear. This is h squared. So now it has 2. It's going to go down to 1h. This h goes away, and this h goes away in the bottom. So now I'm left with 2x plus h plus 3. Okay, if you feel like you've got a grasp on it, maybe pause this video and try to do part C here by yourself. If you want one more example, you can maybe try to watch part C with me and then try to do part D on your own. So going through part C here, we have another quadratic equation. So I have 2 x's. So I need to replace both of these x's with this x plus h. So we get 3 times x plus h squared minus 2 times x plus h plus 5. So this part here is only that blue part, that f of x plus h. Now let's evaluate negative f of x. So we'll do minus and then my entire function. And this is all over h. Okay, let's try. All right, x plus h quantity squared is x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. I'm going to distribute this negative 2, bring down my plus 5, and now distribute in this negative. All over h. Because this one has the coefficient in front of that x squared, we do have another step right here where I have to distribute in this 3 to everything. So we have 3x squared plus 6xh plus 3h squared. And now I'll copy down everything else. Okay, and a lot should cancel here. So let's look. Positive and negative 3x squared negative and positive 2x, positive and negative 5. So we are left with 6xh plus 3h squared minus 2h all over h. Notice everything that's left behind has an h. Every term here that didn't have an h is what gets canceled. So now that every term here, all three on the top and the one in the bottom, have an h, we can take away an h from all of them. So this h goes away. We have two h's here. So one goes away, leaves the one behind. This one goes away, and the one on the bottom goes away. So my final answer is 6x plus 3h minus 2. Okay, you have now seen 3 examples of this. I highly recommend you pause the video and try to do part D on your own, and then check your answer. Okay, I hope you pause the video. So we're going to go through this quickly because hopefully you have already worked it out. So if I am using my formula, so let's get over here and fold this paper real quick. Okay. If I'm using my formula, first thing I need to do is evaluate this f of x plus h. So I'm going to replace both of these x's with x plus h. So we get 2x plus h squared minus x plus h. Be careful here, that still goes in parentheses with a negative out front, minus 8. Now negative f of x, so minus your entire function. And this is all over h. I'm going to do this all in one step. So x plus h quantity squared is x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. And then I'm going to distribute that 2 into all of it. So that is 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared. Distribute that negative. Minus x minus h, bring down your minus 8. And then distribute your negative in here. Minus 2x squared, positive x, positive 8, all over h. A lot should cancel. Positive and negative, 2x squared. We have a positive and negative x, and a negative and positive 8. So we're left with 4xh plus 2h squared minus h all over h. Okay, now there is a common mistake on this one that we do need to be careful with. Again, notice everything here has an h. Everything here that didn't have an h in it got canceled. Always going to happen. This h disappears. We have 2 h's here. That one disappears. We know the one on the bottom goes away. This one here cancels, but it does leave something behind. Negative h over h does leave behind a negative 1. So my final answer is not 4x plus 2h. That's the majority of it. But again, this negative h over h leaves a negative 1. So be careful with this, with these two here. You can think about it as this one, when it cancels, it leaves behind a 1, right? But we don't need to draw that all over 1. Not necessary. Same thing here. When I cancel out this negative h, it leaves behind a negative 1. So be careful. Rewatch this video if you need to. This is definitely a test question. And this is, again, how you start Calc 1 So it's going to be really helpful if you already are familiar with this formula and are comfortable using it.